over those proposed changes now and tell you what's changed from the few slides I've already given you going forward. So in 2015, and again, when I'm talking about a funding year, the funding year begins July 1st and runs through June 30th. So if we're beginning the filing year 2015, what we apply for is the period July 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2016. So in the funding year 2015, the local long distance, including VoIP, cellular will be phased out. And the way it's phased out is, depending on your discount percentage, each year beginning in 15, it will be reduced by 20 points. So the example is, if you're a 40% discount school and in 15 your discount would then be reduced to 20% in 2015, and then it would be phased out totally in 2016. If you're a 90% school, then in 2015 it's 70%, then 50%, then 30%, then 10%, and then phased out. So the legacy services are going to be phased out. Web hosting, email, voicemail, and texting will no longer be eligible services, so no discounts apply to any of these services. Discount percentage for internet is not changed. It will remain the same. So if you're, again, a 40% school, and you have been and you continue to be, then your internet access, broadband access, is still at 40%. No change there. The cellular service, again, the voice portion of it is being phased out. And if you have a data plan with it, it will only be eligible if it is the most cost-effective method to receive internet service, and you have to prove that case that there is no accessibility other than through your data plan. So in 2015 and 2016, funding years 2015 and 16, an additional $1 billion to the $2.4 billion that I mentioned earlier will be available for Category 2. Now, in the past, up until this year, only schools at the various highest discount percentage, meaning 80% or 90% discount schools, could apply for what was called at that time Priority 2, now it's called Category 2. So in 2015, the change is that it doesn't matter what your discount percentage is, you can apply for Wi-Fi equipment and installation and upgrades no matter what your discount percentage is. So in 2015 and 16, $1 billion on top of the Category 1, $2.4 billion will be available to apply for. If you've already installed or upgraded Wi-Fi, it's not grandfathered, so you can't apply for already installed equipment or upgrades. This is only new installations beginning in funding year 2015. If you have no plans to do anything in 15, then again you can apply in funding year 2016. And the hope is that it will continue. This is a five-year program that you will be doing even beyond funding year 2016. So again, as I mentioned, all schools will be eligible to apply for Wi-Fi equipment. And when you evaluate it, there are a number of factors that you use to evaluate all vendors that are giving you proposals, including your current vendor. And the only guideline in evaluating a vendor is that the cost effectiveness, or the cost portion of it, has to be the largest portion. But let's say you have 5 variables. One of them is cost, another one is relationship with a vendor, and 3 others. That cost one can be 1 point greater than all the others as long as it's the largest one. But in most cases, if you have an existing vendor, it is cost effective and you have a good relationship and the service to you is good, the answer would no, you do not have to change. This is not a requirement. I think that is currently the list of questions. I've left up on the screen, well, here comes another one. All right, so someone is asking to repeat the 3 methods for determining low-income students. So the first is National School Lunch Program, or what's normally considered free and reduced lunch program. If your school is on a free or reduced lunch program, monthly you submit to the state a report, usually by your cafeteria person or somebody in charge of that shows the monthly free and reduced. So a student that's either receiving free or reduced is counted as low income because they meet the low income guidelines. The second method for determining low income is if your school gives financial aid to a student and you can either use a third party. There are a number of third party services. There's PSAS, there's SMART, there's TADS, there's FACTS. Those are the main ones that a family applies through them, sends in their application with a application fee, and then the financial aid services reports back to you the applications and the detail and whether that student of that family qualifies under the E-rate program, yes or no, and then the school makes a decision about giving financial aid. It can also be documented internally. We have a number of schools that have an internal application period. The same thing, the family applies to the school through their own internal application period, but the main thing is that what needs to be documented is the family total income as reported on their 1040 and the size of the household. Those 2 elements we can work through and report financial aid as the method. The third is called a survey, and you can either find the survey on the USAC site, or we'd be happy to send you what the survey is. It's basically asking the question, based on your family size, is your income at below or above the amount that's relegated for it. If it's checked that it is below, then the student or students in that family attend your school or documented as low income and are E-rate eligible. There is a fourth method that's not very much used, but it is there. If you have a family that is foster parents to a child, then regardless of the income of that family, that child or children are considered wards of the state or are eligible. So that's another method that's not, it's very rarely used, but it can be if we're trying to maximize the number of low income. Let's see. The next question is, can you buy laptops for students with E-rate? No computers, hardware, telephones, any hardware is eligible or can be discounted. We're really talking about services. If you think about conduit, meaning what it is that brings the connectivity into your school or out of the school, is what's discounted. So it's really the service, not the hardware. So if you have, like a phone system, the only thing that's eligible is a service to connect that phone to use. Another question is, can you clarify the calculation of the discounted amount? Okay, so in the case, we'll just give you an example. Let's say you're a school with 100 students, and we've calculated through one of those methods that you have 10 students that are considered low income. The calculation is the number of low-income students divided by your total enrollment, and then that discount percentage against the chart I showed you. So in this case, in that example, 10% are considered low income. It's between 1 and 19.5%, or 1 and 20%, which gets you a 40% discount unless you're rural. Then it would be a 50%. So on that that slide I showed you, maybe we can go back to it. Can you go back to that slide? It would have been, yeah. Let me just show you that. Yeah, that one, yeah. So here's that graph again. You know, that calculation I just said, the 10%, if you looked at it, it was 1 to 19%. Then in an urban location, you get a 40% discount, and if you're rural, consider rural, you get 50. And you can see the other calculations. Again, the only rounding is if you're at 19.51%, then you round up to the next discount level, or that 20% discount. So anything above 19.5% gets rounded up in each of those categories. Okay. Any other questions that I can address? Or we can go back to the screen that you have either my email address and telephone number, or Richard Centuria, who's the CEO. We'd be happy to address specific questions about your school or anything related to the presentation. If there are, let's see, I do see a couple more questions here. Let's see, and we prove that percentage of those one methods for discounts. The question is, let's see, and yeah, if the reviewer, you know, we'll request it based on what you give us. If the reviewer wants documentation, generally the NSLP documentation is the monthly report, and generally we request that you submit to us the report in the last quarter of the year that's got the highest percent number of free and reduced. We'll use that. If it's the financial aid, we'll take the information off of the summarization report that the third party or internal gives us, give you a form letter to put on your letterhead, and then the only other thing that's required is an actual application that was filed through the third party with all the personal information blacked out. Let's see, another question. Let's see, methods for discounts. I don't know what that one. Another question is, if the school has to fill out the Form 71, do you help them if it's difficult for them? Again, all the forms we send you, you know, contain the information that we use to file the actual USAC E-rate form. When we make available our staff to each of the clients to work through the forms. Generally, we make them as easy as possible, but there are some questions, and we're available to answer those questions so the documentation we get is complete and proper as possible. So in any of the forms, Form 470, 471, we assist you to make sure, or call you if we have a question about something that you've completed on the form. We can, I know there's I think what we're going to do also, I think we agreed, is that so that you can go back and review what I presented, we will make this presentation available on the PAISBOA website after the session is over. Let's see, another question. You said no hardware would be covered, but can you review some examples of Wi-Fi equipment that would be eligible? Okay, let me go back to this slide. So will they see that full screen? Okay. So if you look at the third bullet point on the screen, eligible items include access points, cabling, antennas, network switches, routers, racks, UPS. This is a lot of this is over my head. I don't understand a lot of the technology, but I'm sure that technology people do. Wireless LAN controllers and improvements, upgrades and software to support the eligible broadband internal connections and components. If you're interested, you can always go there on the USAC website. There is a portion called eligible services. If you can't fall asleep at night, you can access that and read the volumes of, we've tried to summarize it here, but you can go there and see them. Let's see. To restate, the maximum amount that a school receives is $150 per student over 5 years. If I have 350 students, my max budget or ERA funds would be $52,500. Okay, so the $52,500, if the calculation is 150 times 350 over 5 years, is $52,500. That's your pre-discount budget. So you then apply whatever your approved discount is, and that's what you actually would receive in E-rate discounts. Your budget is $150, but the actual E-rates is based on your discount budget. Okay, let's see. I think we've reached the end of the question period again. We can go back to, our contact information. And again, this will be available, so you don't have to jot it down. But these numbers and emails are available. They'll be available on the PAIS BOA website, the presentation as well as the contact information. And we'd be happy for any of you that either have filed on your own or haven't filed in the past to talk to you about how we can get started. This is a perfect time to do it, since we've started the process, and can certainly be of help to get the funding flowing to your school. So I again want to thank the organization for allowing us to speak with you and make the presentation. We're available, as I said, anytime you have a question about E-rates or the new program. And again, thank you very much for the time. We appreciate it.